Good morning, everyone. It is another day and another experiment, and I think today is probably the last day that I can get poppies out of my own yard for a flower print. I might try to do something with like succulents, perhaps, and I also got this random bunch of flowers from the market. I asked the man to get me something with a bunch of eucalyptus leaves in it, and that is what I was brought. So don't trust your self shopper and ask them to send you pictures. They're going to pick you flowers. Anyway, I'm going to go gather flowers and prep the area and start the big pot boiling and get all of our steaming plastic ready. I'm going to try to use fresh plastic since the other stuff has been boiled in iron several times, and we're trying to make something pretty today, which is not really my vibe, but I'm willing to do it for the sake of science. We must cover all the bases. So I'm gonna go gather some flowers and get us started for the day. Okay, my yard had quite a bounty of some California natives that will be really fun to put down. I'm mostly nervous about this process because this seems more scary to me than getting a chemical reaction between two things, because this is just like, did it work? I don't know. And there's not much I can do to control that. I also brought in some of the sage heads that were finished blooming that are still all juicy and wet, because I was thinking they might have like a really unique green or purple color come out of them. Typically when you see things that are very purpley, they spit out green, as we learned with the lilac flowers. Anyway, I'm going to get this laid out, and then I will show you it before I roll it, and then I will roll several more for testing using other flowers that I care less about. But I'm going to use this one on the nice piece of silk that I have, because they said that's the most forgiving and most beneficial to this process. I also specifically chose really fine weave cottons, thinking that perhaps it would take it on better than the muslin, where we're looking for a chemical reaction. So this is just contact. Also, it smells like I'm cooking turkey in here because of the sage. Okay, I'm going to get all set up, and I will show you what it looks like when I'm ready. Okay, here's what I laid out. That took an unholy amount of time. I tried to work from the stuff I had the least of to the stuff I had the most of. I stayed away from greens because those sometimes don't look like they do much. You can also do this with dried items like hibiscus tea flowers, that kind of thing, to make prints, but we will see what comes of this. It is on one of the silk scarves. Okay, here is our flower steam bundle of all of my California natives from the yard. We will pray for this and pray to the dying gods that they are kind to our print and our $12 scarf, which seems like not a lot until you're gonna ruin it with steam. Anyway, good luck, little buddy. Bye. Okay, I wanted to note that you don't have to have a dowel to do this. You could just literally roll this up like a tie-dye and then coil it and rubber band it and put it in the steamer. We also aren't going to steam these as long because we don't want the color to bleed necessarily. If you do want the color to bleed, steam the bejesus out of it, but it will fade the color. So I'm doing a piece of fabric that's too large for my dowel. So I'm going to lay down a plastic barrier, fold it over on top of more flowers so that they're all oriented the same way when I unfold it again. Or I don't have to. I mean, I could do it either way and then just cut the fabric in half. But you can layer things on top of one another is what I'm saying, to make them all fit together. You will get better prints if you use a dowel or a can or something large that doesn't just crunkle up everything into the tiniest roll at the front. So I'm nearly halfway done. Oh my God. No, I have one more left after this one. Okay. It's not that bad. I'm only doing 5. Okay. But then we're only going to steam them for 10 minutes on quote a side, but we're going to steam them for 20 minutes total, turn them a little bit through the middle, and then see what we've got. Okay, our bundles are going. Now, I don't know if ours are getting the same steam exposure as the internet ladies because she was just rolling hers up like a t-shirt. There was no barrier, but we're going to start with 10 minutes and then turn them, even though they're in a round state. I don't think we really need to flip it, honestly. But we'll turn them because she said so, and then we'll do another 10 minutes. Okay, I was good and I followed the direct instructions of don't go longer than 20 minutes or it can mess up it'll make them bleed more, etc. I see some things going on in the roll. So we'll let these cool just a little bit. they haven't been boiled alive for an eternity, so they shouldn't be as hot. Ooh, look at the California one. Please come out. I don't want to waste a whole scarf that I could have dyed in loquat, which we all know is the best dye in the world. Okay, we have our 5 bundles. I do see color. I see orange. Okay, we'll let those cool and we'll unwrap and see what hell we hath wrought. Hello, we're here. These are still warm, but here's where I will divulge with the lady's instruction. She says to let them fully cool with the contact with the stuff, but that just makes me think that it will spread more because it's just sitting there in its own juices. I don't know. Another lady unwrapped them right out of the pot. She did not say that she was cooling them down, and she unwrapped them and told her kid, warning, it's hot. So I can only presume that it was actually hot. So I'm going to start in the order that I assume will be least to most successful based on what I'm looking at here and the materials I used. Ooh, these did get really hot. Wow, okay. That lady just has a lot more heat tolerance than I do. Well, I'll let you, you'll know if I had to take a break because the video will cut and come back from me getting too hot touching these. I can at least unwind them all. And I will let you know that these types of prints can range in, oh, that smells not bad, but weird. I definitely don't recognize the smell that's coming out of these. It's not as bad as a eucalyptus, I guess. What I wanted to say was that these can range in style anywhere from like extremely hyper accurate leaf prints, which some people are going for, or flower prints, to just completely modeled random patterning. It can go completely either way, and you can do that with intention or just see what nature gives you, which I kind of did both here. I did some flowers up and down. I did some on rough fabric. I did some on smooth fabric. And that's part of at least my experimental scientific process, is that I want to create the maximum amount of reactions and variables that I possibly can so that I have a lot of information to unpack. So even if something would be considered maybe like a catastrophic failure by someone else, I just consider that honestly a really, really big amount of data and some very hard boundaries on what we should or should not do in the case of that craft. So I guess that in my life, I failed so often at doing what everybody wanted me to do correctly that I just became very used to throwing myself at the wall and seeing what would stick and hoping that I would be all right. But it has served me well in that I fearlessly will make grievous mistakes for the sake of other people feeling okay to do so. All right, this is shockingly warm. All right, I don't remember what one this is, to be honest, but it's on, oh, we're going to get a really pretty color mix. Okay, so this is on muslin. And, oh, wow. Okay, and also I wanted to note that these we are not going to wash immediately. We are going to let this cure for a day, the color, and see if any more of it will set. But we did use alum, so it does actually have mordant in it, so it theoretically could hold some of these colors. We kind of know from our past experiences that those purples usually run away, but the greens usually stay. It would be cool if the purples stayed. But basically, as soon as we're done with this, these will just get hung up for the night to dry and cure completely for 24 hours. But even if it's ephemeral, what a great practice to do with kids, because they can learn not only about ephemeral color and how lucky we are to briefly see these unique colors in nature that our ancestors at some point probably would have been trying to recreate. All right, so there's our first one. This is mostly African daisies, and whatever that little flower was that I put in there, that magenta colored flower, it has a name and I don't remember it, but that one imparted quite a bit of color. So that's a really neat one. We definitely made a fabric with a pattern. I will say that. This whole process is so wild to me. Whew, that one got really hot. Actually, melted that a little bit. I've put these in boiling water and it didn't stick, but now it does. Let's see. Who's the next most successful possibility? We got this guy. Oh, that's right. This one has like a double wrapper. Okay. So this is with those flowers again. I had kind of limited resources as far as fresh flowers here. So take our plastic mask off. Okay, so all that purple is coming from whatever those magenta flowers are, for sure, because we have secondary proof here. And that neon, which is interesting because that neon color of yellow green is what came out of our African Daisy dye bath. We got kind of that like highlightery color. So that's another interesting experiment. Ooh, sorry, everything's sticky. I'll handle that later. Okay, so that's our second one. Similar flower types. Again, just a very cool modeling pattern. It's a little interesting to me that it seems to be where the flowers were overlapping that it actually imparted some color. Or maybe it's only the outer flowers. Couldn't tell ya. That is a theory to unpack later. Our next one, let's see. Okay, this one also was just a big mix, but this is the one that I had to double over and made it extra wide piece of patterned fabric. So we'll take off the top plastic and unfold. Again, we got kind of that fun, weird pattern. These ones I probably would not dye with again, just because we're not getting a ton of bang for our buck for all the work that we're doing, but it's still very pretty. And we will let it dry and see what happens. And if nothing happens, then we will just reuse the fabric and dye it with loquats, because loquats are better than anything else we've found so far. Okay, we're down to our last two, which are the California native ones. So I have high hopes, or not hopes. I would like it if these came out nicely, because I like these flowers and I don't want to waste them. They came from my own yard and are feeding all my own animals. And it looks like the poppies imparted absolutely nothing. Wow, poppies, great work. That's what it would look like. Oh, also the sage imparted nothing. Wow. Okay, so California poppy, not meant for steam dyeing. California sage, not meant for steam dyeing at all. And even those red penstemon flowers came out nowhere. They disappeared, at least on that fabric. This is on silk. Let us pray that the silk picked up something, because otherwise this will have been a waste of poppies, which is the thing that makes me more sad than anything. I don't like to waste things that nature made. That's the only part that upsets me. I can re-dye anything. I just feel bad about my wasted poppies from the yard. Okay, that was our extra plastic. Okay, so some of the penstemon flowers gave off some color here. It captured a little bit of poppy. Okay, I can see why people prefer doing this onto silk. I'm beginning to see why. I'm willing to admit that there's reasons people do stuff. I just have to find them out for myself. And the irises I put on here that are like a Spanish iris local to the area, those seem to have also put out kind of a crazy blue. Look at that. That is pretty neat. I don't know that I love it. Are you just attached now? Just fused to it? Well, that'll be fun to peel off. Oh, Lord. All right, well, we'll be peeling that off as it dries, apparently. Anyway, fascinating. All right, so we will let these dry. We will see what they look like tomorrow. Silk, definitely the most successful there, as far as picking up the more subtle flower colors, for sure. And will we re-dye this? Maybe. I don't know. We will see. But I will let them dry so we get through the full scientific process and we can say that we did it. And if we don't like that, we just don't do it again. And that's okay. I will see you on the other side when these are all dry. That sounded morbid. I will see you when these are dry. Okay, so here is the review of what I knew would be a bit of a weird printing attempt. These have not been washed because I wasn't super confident that the color would stay, to be perfectly honest. These are the California poppies, and there's some irises in here, some penstemon flowers, and it weirdly came out in a bizarrely, like, primary color look. The poppies did absolutely nothing to the alum mordanted fabric. And whatever those other weird flowers were that I still could have identified with a Google lens and just have not, left some purple. Whether or not that will wash out, I will update you, but I think that this deserves another try. So I have gotten some more flowers, this time from the market, and hopefully we will revisit the steam bundle dyeing and have a more, well, a less unpredictable outcome, we'll say. But I want to try to do that again, and we will. So that was our first try. Remember, nothing is a failure, it's data collection, and we learned that California poppies do not like this. And all of this fabric can just be re-dyed after being scoured and mordanted again. So there is nothing wasted, just things learned. Okay, here are the results of the steam bundle printings that I kept. Now, these are not failures. We didn't get perfect flower prints, but we did get color that actually stayed in the fabric, which is more important. And we got it onto cellulose fabric, which is crazy because apparently you're not supposed to do this except onto silk, which might explain why we had a rough time. But also I didn't use any flowers that it recommended. I used whatever ones I liked. But I think this would look really great with like a really bold sashiko pattern on it, or something really like stark and linear versus how weird and blotchy and bruisey it kind of is. And then this is our California Natives scarf, which, just because I'm not much for pretty things and I don't have a very feminine, or even just kind of a floral taste, not feminine, men can like flowers, I don't have a floral taste. I don't know if I like it. It is a successful print, and I did memorialize the beautiful poppies that my yard grew me, so it was a success in that respect. And so I think I'm going to let it hang on the wall and see if it grows on me, because I do enjoy that you can see that my beautiful California poppies were on there. It's so funny that it came out such primary colors, and the sages turned like a very deep kind of blue blacky purple in the steam bath. So I'm going to let this one grow on me before I just automatically re-dye it and see if I like it a little better as just a testament to me learning a new skill, because I did in fact get flower prints. But we are going to devote some time to trying this again and seeing if we can get a slightly better result with some different flowers. Okay, it's admittedly a few days later, but our fancy silk has come in, and I want to revisit our steam bundle printing of brightly colored flowers. I have a bunch of beautiful flowers to try that my husband got me or went with me to get, and while very appreciated, I'm going to decapitate some of them to try to steam print them. Anyway, I will show you the flowers. I will get these bundled up, and they will get the 20 minutes just like we did before. This has been mordanted in alum exclusively. So the silk is the silk noil, which is supposed to take, or null, I don't know how to say it. I will Google it later. But that's the fancy silk. Even though it looks transparent, it's not very transparent when it's not wet. So we'll get those all laid out, and we'll do another attempt and a final attempt at the flower steam bundle dyeing. Okay, so here's my first flower steam bundle for the day. I try to keep them spread out. I'm going to try and mash them as carefully as I can. These are actually carnations that I cut the bud off of and just kind of like plorked them down so that they would stay. And I'm going to roll it up with a fresh piece of plastic just in case that might affect it, and we will see how these do. It's kind of a fun idea to like commemorate a bouquet and like take a few of the nice ones and make yourself a little printing of it rather than keep dried flowers. I don't know, I think it's nice. Okay, and here is number 2. I tried some Gerbera daisies, and I've been told that rose leaves are very high in tannins that can react, so we will try that and see how these do. Hello, let us finish off our dyeing experiment with the steam bundles and flowers and more delicate leaves and see how we did. This has probably been my least favorite process, only because I'm not so into flowers and I'm more into the chemical reaction that we're getting. I find that more fun than the actual flowers. But that's okay. If this is your deal, then by all means, do a bunch of these. I'm hoping that the silk will have helped it, rather than trying to print onto cottons like last time. We did get a good print out of our California poppies, but I thought we could do better. So I wanted to try another flower. So here is my, oh, well, we definitely got a reaction. Okay, so here it is. And again, these ones, I think were both alum mordanted. So these were rose leaves. This is a rose. Ooh, got a little melty. Oh my. Ooh. Well, the Gerbera daisies came out really fun. Hopefully some of that color stays. Now remember, we leave these guys to sit overnight to hold their color. We don't launder them immediately, because then you definitely will lose considerable amounts of color. Let's pull these off as we go. Oh, this one's still peeing all over my hand. Ew, ew, ew. Okay, we're gonna have to wash all these dye plastics. Gross. Ew. Ew, I didn't know it was gonna do that. This is another reason I don't like this flower process. Goop. Okay, there's a lot of dye in there. Not tons of it goes into the fabric, which I find kind of funny. Maybe if you boil it and actually make a dye bath of them, it would work better. I don't know. But let's keep going. Oh, wow. Okay, so we got some really good prints on this one. More buds, more slightly gently melted plastic, flower. If I don't get it off now, it will stick to the fabric. And because I'm not washing it immediately, I want to get it off of here. So I do apologize for the length of this. If I end up just rambling to myself, I will speed it up in post-processing. In fact, I think I will. Wow, this is definitely better than last time. We can definitely agree on that, I think. Okay, so these are going to dry. This one's going to dry overnight, hanging up. I'm super happy with that. And I think the other one actually has even more of these, so let's see how it came out. I'm going to speed us through the unrolling process of that one as well and see if that works out. And then we're definitely going to have to wash these. As you can see, they are covered in magenta.
here is print number 2. Well, it's certainly right. These were carnations. These were carnations too. I mean, well, nothing is what it seems. But we're gonna let these dry overnight and cure the pigments onto the fabric before we launder them. And we'll see how these end up and finish off our steam flower dye bundling experiment. So here is our flower steam bundle printing version 2, which I think came out much better. If I do any more, I will post another experiment, but I would be so appreciative for a like and a follow or a comment on which one was your favorite. These are those fun mums, and I think I have a few more flowers left that I can poke at, but I think these would make such a fun like apron, and we got a beautiful print out of the rose leaf as well, even if it's a little light. So I still am going to do a lot of experiments with this beautiful silk, and if you'd like to join me, please go ahead and subscribe as I try to make myself a more independent, partially disabled artist. Anyway, I will see you in the next experiment. Bye!